So begins the war against the interdimensional demons. This is actually an endgame event that was pretty dormant since its arrival. I mean, it was, in fact, active against the Wolhub Empire, which is the green guys that you'll see in a few minutes or seconds, whichever. And I'm pretty sure if you've seen it in my last Stellaris video, they were just sitting there in my territory, not doing shit. And we finally decided to do something before they ended up expanding even more than they already have. Because an endgame event is basically the apocalypse that you may have a fighting chance against. And as you saw, me and my friend began advancing on the Nahar, essentially to provoke them, I guess. But it wasn't until we started advancing that he suggested we stay on the near the planet so we get a boost in defense. And this is actually something that kind of annoyed me during the opening stages of the fighting, because for whatever reason, and you could see it happening right now, I'm the green right there. My ships, for whatever reason, decided to turn extremely slowly. I do not understand why they did this. I don't really know why they couldn't just pivot. I mean, they're in space, not water. So, unfortunately, my friend Will ended up soaking up most of the damage, and honestly, he really did do most of the damage to the fleet there. And it did kind of annoy me, because really my ships are just acting like sloths, slowly trying to turn, just biding their time. I really had no idea how to make them go faster. And really, I was both annoyed and pretty nervous, because anyone who plays Stellaris essentially knows about the end game. These guys, like I said earlier, I'm not doing a script on this. I'm just going off just off the top of my head. It's basically apocalyptic. We are going against what's called the Unbidden, which are, like I said in the intro, interdimensional demons who eat everything. They consume entire galaxies. And for a few decades in the game, or maybe even 100 years or so, they've been basically gnawing on the corpse of the Wolhub Empire, which I am very thankful of. And yeah, all that emptiness, ignoring that red dot, yeah, that little patch there, that actually made me scream internally of fear. That all used to be green. That all used to belong to the Wolhubs, the green guys you see there. And right there, I'm sending my ships to the Devil's Maw in order to scout out their entryway. Which, right there, I nearly shat my fucking pants when I saw that. I mean, we knew it was going to be heavily defended, but holy sweet merciful crap. I was incredibly happy that they were inactive, because honestly, when they first arrived, I actually set up an emergency secondary empire just in case I was overrun. And thankfully, since they were kind of sluggish on the response, right here you could see my forces. I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for my friend to arrive to get me back up just in case. As I'm recording this, I can't really see the numbers too much. All I know is that those things are very powerful. That right there, that weird ice pick, salt shaker, whatever, I can't speak, is an anchor. It helps open the gate, essentially so more demons can come through. And yeah, I know, I'm kind of hanging on this for a while, and yeah, sorry about that. I was just mesmerized how messed up it looked. And I was kind of waiting for my friend. Yeah, thought so. Waiting for my friend to show up, because I wasn't sure how, like, what the defenses were going to be on this. So I wanted to make sure he was there to give me the backup I needed, and because I didn't want to end up losing my entire fleet trying to go for an anchor. I underestimated the fortifications of an enemy before, and I deeply regretted it. But thankfully, as you can see here, it's slowly fading, and we eventually destroy this one. God, these look like psychedelic. I cannot speak. Psychedelic fictional events that you see from like the 70s or 80s. I think you know what I'm talking about. And we were really, at this point, just desperately trying to just loosen their grip on the galaxy so we can get a better footing and figure out what to do, and just so we would have a better chance. And we were mostly going after fleets that we knew were smaller than us. And unfortunately, we did piss them off, and as you can see, several of these fleets are starting to move around more. We kind of kicked the beehive, the hornet's nest, in a sense. I'm not really sure how many times we paused the gameplay. I'm really, as I'm recording this, I'm just giving the narration as I watch this, and we're trying to like map out where they are, hunt these guys down the best we can, and yeah, thankfully, because of our range, we were able to, in fact, be able to get the first shot. And once you get the first shot, first blood, you have a greater chance of victory, whether or not you have a larger or smaller force. Thankfully, mine was larger, and I had my friend here as backup. We really, for the most part, we didn't want to risk fighting this alone, because this was an in-game event. It technically wasn't an independent faction like the others. We couldn't outright declare war. So more or less, me and him were on our own fighting this. We couldn't outright declare war and have the full might of the Federation fighting with us, which was, I think at that time, four independent nations, including a fallen empire, which is leagues stronger. And I believe, the Devil's Maw. Yeah, they were spreading their territory out more. And around this time, they started finally started to attack my territories. And as you can see it's hard to read that. Damn it. I'm not moving in the right area. Those two systems that they're in, that I actually end up... One of those planets was actually a planet I was observing, like the natives, to study shit like that. And unfortunately... Wait, hold on. They glassed the planet. They wiped out the population. And unfortunately, the other one that they attacked was a planet that I personally had. It was a fully populated planet, and it actually hurt my economy pretty bad. And really my confidence, really. And as you can see here, we made a desperate attempt to strike at the heart of basically the gateway. We wanted to try and make our attempt to destroy the gateway and end the war like that. And we felt we had a chance, especially with the long range, and we genuinely believe we may have had a chance before enemy forces came to reinforce the gate. However, in about a few seconds, you're going to see how we were overconfident. I guess you'd say we jumped the gun on this one. Unfortunately, since we were too close to the entryway, my friend's forces ended up getting caught up with the reinforcements, splitting our attack in half. more or less. And as you can see, the power balance, we were in over our heads, and we were at this point, we were waiting to have the opportunity to retreat, and we were just really trying to cause as much damage as possible until we had the chance to retreat. It's pretty fucking metal. We're fighting out on the rim of a black hole, and really, the only bright side about this, it caused the Unbidden to return and to leave some of these other territories. And for the most part, my friend was actually putting up a pretty good fight. However, he was taking a very clear beating because they did sneak up behind us. And you could see his numbers starting to drop pretty quickly. And he was bleeding pretty bad. And right around here, it actually gets pretty worse. And we were, like I said, trying to do as much damage as possible, hoping by like some chance we're able to destroy the gate and get the hell out of there. Sorry, but as you can see right here, a second wave of reinforcements came, and at this point we really just we actually started freaking out because this was quite literally everything. This was our entire fleet. You can see on the right hand side, that was everything I had, and I was starting to lose. I pretty much lost half my fleet by this time, and we quickly hit the retreat. I kind of felt bad I left my friend behind, and during this time I was mostly working on the economy, and when the fleet finally returned, I was actually able to attack. Okay, this isn't the one I was thinking of. We were actually able to regroup once we were able to. The fleets scramble, and we kind of lose track of them for a few months. And thankfully, we started to secure my territory again. And because despite the heavy losses, we still outnumbered their average fleet attacks alone, and combined we were able to counteract some of their other offensives. Okay, yeah, that is mine. And honestly, anyone who plays the game would probably see I kind of spammed the hell out of battleships because, go big or go home. And it kind of turned into a desperate stalemate, just trying to secure what I had so I didn't lose anymore. Because, like I said, I lost 2 whole planets. Those were all the population wiped out, resources gone, and I think I managed to recapture it, or I was colonizing again. I think I edited that out of the one part. Anyway. But yeah, it's more or less a stalemate around here. And yeah, I decided to F it. I wasn't going to chase those guys. Or what, did I? Yeah. I think I ended up chasing these guys. And yeah, I kept zooming in and out because I wanted to latch onto them in order to make them an objective to catch up. Because I was hoping my ships were fast enough. Unfortunately, they weren't. And they eventually get to the Wolf Empire, which, unfortunately, their borders were closed. I couldn't enter. Unfortunately, laws do not abide to the Unbidden. That was unintentional. Federation. Yeah, okay. I figure around this time. Yeah, around this... Since we couldn't already declare war on the Unbidden, the other systems, other independent factions, they were kind of doing their own thing. And unfortunately, that did not involve fighting the Unbidden. And, let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this was where I was a little bit early on what I said earlier, but this is where they completely wiped out a planet. Everything on it was gone. People, resources, all gone. And this was actually I was able to attack those same fleets that destroyed my planets, and I was able to ambush them before they were able to make another jump. And as you're about to see, I think I might end up speeding up this video because it does. Despite the game moving at full speed, it does move kind of slowly. But thankfully, I was a bit nervous at the time. I do come out on top since those secondary guys are a bit far enough away that I was be able to defeat their friends here and end up turning my guns on them. So I wasn't over. Ugh. I ended up not being overwhelmed, which I was honest. That was honestly my biggest fear because I was still, as you can see on the right, I was rebuilding my fleet as I can, but it was a slow process, and my economy was really hurt at the time. Each ship at the time, I believe, was 1,000. It was about roughly 1,200 minerals of credit, mineral credits, and they take, I think, 2 minutes to build. And I kind of hold the line here, and I ambush what was supposed to be the relief force. I'm guessing that's what I imagine it is. And since they were sitting right there, I end up getting the first blood and taking them out, and I kind of hold the line there, thankfully, and I kind of reinforce that line as each ship is built, and I end up getting control of the Federation fleet, which really helped. That's a whole new fact I can talk about another time, but I'm going to end on this. Around this time, a secondary war in the southern part of the galaxy broke out, and since I had things under control, I end up gaining. They end up fighting the war in the south for me, so I end up gaining a system without having to move my troops, and I will make a second episode and continue this later on.